everyone. Welcome.
Hello, Kris. Are you tired of me yet?
Oh, heavens no. Never, never, never. So happy to be with Allison. So happy to be with all of you today. Welcome to Three Themes Live, where theme number 1 is something to smile about. Theme number 2 is something to learn. And theme number 3 is something to discover. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to Three Themes Live. I'm Kris here at my girlfriend's quilt shop, and I'm so thrilled that you chose to spend some time with us this afternoon. On this Wednesday, the last day of Three Themes Live for the week. And you know, this week has been all about home. And you know, on Monday we had Liz Powell, and she was talking to us as an interior designer how to make your house into a home. Yesterday we talked a little bit more about home, and I absolutely loved Sherry's take on the flowers. If you know what I'm talking about, you know, chime in, because I thought that was very poignant what she shared. And today I've got Allison back with me, and we're going to continue talking about home, right?
You might wonder why I've been on this week. It's because my family moved quite a few times growing up, and my husband and I have moved a couple of times, so I have lots of homes to talk about.
There you go.
And some of the things that we're talking about is home as a state of mind, home as a place,
home as a feeling.
Home
we
as
had
a
lots
feeling.
of different ways to look at that.
Well, there have been a couple of times that we've lived in rental homes. There's a couple of times we've lived in permanent homes. We actually lived in a hotel room as a home for a while.
Sure.
People live in RVs as home, and my husband and I talk about doing that all the time, about just packing up and going for a extended long home, living in an RV, van life.
You got to get on the road with Liz.
Right, and that's who I was going to say is that Liz does that. But one of the places I've never lived, and I want to ask the audience because it's something I would love, has anyone ever lived in a boat? Oh, I would love to live on the water. Would that not be? You couldn't?
No,
I would love it.
I would get a little
if anybody's
seasick.
ever lived on a boat, not a cruise ship, so to speak, I mean, but wouldn't that be the dream?
Oh,
you know, you read those funny things about, but have you ever lived in a boat? I think it would be fantastic to live in a boat and that be your home. Now, I would have to give up a lot of stuff, because there's no room. And if you lived in an RV, you'd have to give up a lot of different things. But I just really, I'm like, how do I get a boat big enough to live on? I've got to have a raise, boss.
there you go. Done, yes.
Barb says her friends live in an RV, and they live here in the summer and warm climate all winter. I think that would just be so fantastic. And
get to travel all over the country.
Right.
You know, so many places we don't get to see.
Right.
And we don't think about as a place to vacation, but anywhere you go, there's really cool things to see.
Right.
So you had lots of different homes.
Right. We have lots of different places,
styles.
lots of different places, and lots of different weathers. But I have a funny little anecdote story that I wanted to share just a little bit. It's regarding something that happened. We moved from southern Utah to Soda Springs, Idaho in the middle of the winter. Now, if any of you have or know about Soda Springs, Idaho, or the middle of the winter, I'm telling you, we moved from very little snow to snowbanks that were huge and a lot of snowbanks. And so one of the funny stories in our family, and something that makes home, is that my brother got up really early one morning, and it had snowed so many times.
Oh my goodness.
So my dad's snow boots were sitting on the back where he had shoveled. So he put the snow boots on and walked out to the fence, and then came back walking in his same footprints because he didn't, it was so deep.
Yeah.
And it was coming up to his...
So he was using that to help him,
My mom got up, and she thought somebody was peeping Tom because she saw only one set of footprints. Called the cops.
No!
My brother didn't dare say anything. called the
Wow.
police. The police came. They were looking for this peeping Tom.
You're
My mom
kidding.
completely freaked out. My dad was a banker at the time who also did a lot of repossessions, and so
Oh,
there's
so a
some
little
different
nervous
things. A
about
little
that.
bit nervous about that. And it was just a couple years ago. He finally came clean.
No way.
Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness, it's like a living family legend.
Right. But you
That-
know, but it talks about home and snow, and that was a very learning experience. Another fun home story for that is that we had also grown up in southern Utah for a long time, and so we had never heard of snow days.
Oh.
Now, any of you that have lived at the East Coast has snow
Okay.
days, different kinds of things. You grew up in California, and you've probably never heard of a snow
Oh
day.
heavens, no.
So
no.
if it got below 40 degrees, then they canceled school. But you
Okay.
had to get up and listen to the radio
Oh.
at the time
Okay.
to know if school was
Is school-
canceled.
yeah, sure.
I remember we had not lived there very long, and they called a snow day, but we had never heard of a snow day. So I even had a friend that called and said, "Hey, it's a snow day." Yep, it's snowy today. So my mom bundles us all up. That's back in the days that you walked uphill to school
Sure.
both ways.
Oh, yes.
She bundled us up. She had bought all kinds of wear, and my sister and I are walking in this blizzard in
Oh,
Soda Springs,
no.
Idaho to school,
And
wondering why
everyone-
there's
And I'm
no...
sure the neighbors are looking out the windows going, what's happening
yes,
here?
Yes, because
Those poor
people would
children.
freeze. People would freeze just going in their backyard or whatever. So we walked all the way to school, and I remember there was no buses, there was
Oh,
nobody
my
at the school.
goodness.
We stood there at that school, and then finally, after a time, we're like, I guess we'll walk home. So my sister and I walked all the way home, and we came in, and my mom, who I'm sure is like, what just happened to my day?
Right.
Why are you back? We're like, there is
Why
no
are you
school.
back?
She's like, yes, there is. Get going. You
Oh
are
my
not going to
goodness.
cancel school. It took a long time for us to figure out what a snow day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that
my
was
goodness.
just some of my fun little memories from home.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I'm sure as many of you have stories from home as well. You know, the things that take you right back. Do you remember one of your home addresses growing up?
Oh yes.
I mean, me
175
too.
East, 400 North.
Yep, 1187 Zircon Street.
Yes.
Like, I will never forget it, but ask me my
181
address from
Argonne
a few
Avenue.
years ago. I don't remember.
Do you remember your phone number?
Yes.
Yes, I do too.
435, or no, 713-4673.
Oh, ours was 563-8175, I think. I don't know.
Isn't that crazy,
Yeah.
the things that
But
you
I
remember?
couldn't call my parents without scrolling through finding mom and
Right.
hitting send at this point.
Exactly. That's so true. If you have a home story, we would love to hear about it. Let us know in the comments or post a picture of a home that you had growing up, or even the one now, whatever you'd like to
Right.
share about your home. We would love to see and hear about your home or homes or
Boat.
boat.
Or what
RV.
about what a state of home is in your
Yes,
heart.
that is very true. And you can post those pictures on our private Facebook group, Friends of My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop, where we're all friends, right? And it's just fun to get to know you a little bit better as we, share a little bit about us.
And next
as
month
well.
we may share your story, and that's always fun.
Yes. Now, don't forget, this is all part of Stitch Your Story, which is a year-long project that we are working on. Whether you've, done the previous months or you're just ready to jump in right now, it's never too late, right?
Do one.
Do
Do
one.
one block
Yep.
that speaks to you.
Exactly. So I love this. Marilyn says hers was Prospect 29308. It was a party line.
Oh, I wanted a party line, Marilyn. My friend had a party line. I thought that was the
Were you
best.
so jealous?
Yes, I was so jealous.
You wanted a party line. All right, well, party. All right, love it. So we're talking about home. Allison has lived in lots of different homes, and I'm sure she's lived in homes of very many styles. And today, we're going to show you how to make a quilt block based off of a home, but depending on the angles you do, you could get completely different looks.
Right.
So if this is a block that you're thinking about creating on your own,
We have some tricks.
We definitely have some tricks to share with you. We'll be back right after this. Hi, it's Kris from My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop, and I'm here to ask, Have you started your Stitch Your Story blocks yet? If you're wondering what exactly is Stitch Your Story, let me share a few ideas with you. It is actually a movement that we are doing here in the year 2025.
It is the stories of those who came before us that ultimately help us understand who we are as human beings.
We're asking you to create a personal 12.5-inch unfinished quilt block each month. And it's according to a theme. And we're going to give you different ideas throughout the year on what the theme is and what techniques you could possibly do, because really there's no right or wrong way to do it. It is all up to you and your own creativity.
Today, my legend is a true legend.
Yes.
So I'm really excited.
There's no rules. We want you to have fun and try different techniques throughout the year. Of course, we gotta have major 3D dimension going on.
It's even better than a picture, right?
All your questions could be answered by watching 3 Themes live every month. That is going to be your go-to resource for everything Stitch Your Story.
As you guys share
Right.
your stories with us, I've learned a little bit more about different people.
We want to celebrate your progress, so please, by all means, share with us your pictures, your stories, and you can do so by using the hashtag StitchYourStory2025 and hashtag MyGirlfriendsQuiltShop so that we can follow along on your journey to a complete quilt by the end of the year. All right, welcome back to 3 Themes Live. I'm Kris.
And I'm Allison.
And we are here to talk about a home block. You know, it's so interesting as we're going through the comments. So many of you out there had party lines.
I know. So jealous.
Yes. not so much for some people,
None
though.
of you were jealous that had one. You're like, no, it was a pain. You had to wait for somebody to get off.
There
yeah,
you go.
I imagine. Do you remember? Maybe you don't, but I had boyfriends in high school that we would talk for hours, and I would stretch that cord. My dad would get so mad because it was that cord, and I'd stretch it into the bathroom so nobody could hear us, and I'd sit on the floor for hours.
The things our children will never know.
I know. Now they can talk for hours in the privacy of their own rooms in front of their TVs.
Exactly.
All right, Kris, are you a
Yeah.
little bit nervous about I'm the knower and you're the sewer today?
No, not at all.
All right,
I'm
well, you should be.
excited.
All right.
Okay, I should be.
All right, today I want to show you my home block.
Okay.
And it's just a basic home block. As you
Yeah.
can see, I just create a home. The reason I did it red is because the majority of the houses we lived in were red brick.
Interesting.
And I didn't realize that until I'll share on Things 3.
Okay.
But it's just a representative of a house that we lived in, but it kind of represents all the homes that we lived
I like
in.
that.
You
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
But one of the tricks I want to show to you today is how to do this roof. And we do angles just a little bit different sometimes here at my girlfriend's quilt
Yes,
shop.
we sure
We
do.
write our patterns just a little bit different. And so I thought maybe it would just really be fun to show you what do you do with an angle when it's not a half square triangle.
Okay.
So
Great idea.
we're going to set my home block aside, which is just a basic house block. And this is also another way to tell you your Stitch Your Story does not have to be complicated.
No, not at all.
It can be really easy because
Yes.
your story, well, my story is always complicated, but I mean, but maybe your quilt is not complicated,
Yeah.
and it's the stories that go with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have right here just the roof of my house.
Okay.
Right? But I want to make an angle that is not necessarily a pointy house.
Okay.
And so I'm going to show you how to do that, and it's really quite easy. All right, so I have 2 rectangles that I just cut here on my block. All right, so I am going to determine how far I want to measure over on the side of my block. And I think I'm going to take this angle about 2 inches. So I'm using a friction pen, and I'm going to go 2 inches on each side, and I'm just going to mark out just a little tick mark, just 2 inches over on each side with.
Now, why did you decide on 2 inches, Allison?
I just decided. I mean,
Okay.
it's just the
'Cause
angle.
you're the boss of it,
Because
and
I'm
you
the boss
said
of
yes.
it, and I said, this is what I want my angle to look. I want
Okay.
a little bit of a flat roof.
Okay.
Maybe I want to put a chimney on it
Ah.
or anything like that.
There you go.
I didn't want to go all over to the side, so I just decided 2 inches. But sometimes you'll notice on the patterns we send out when we're doing rectangle blocks,
Yeah.
we'll say measure over 1 7/8.
Oh, yes, we would
measure over
always-
1 3/4.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, from the top.
We would always give you specifics.
Yes,
but
but
this
on
is
my-
your house block.
yes.
You can do whatever you want.
Right.
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 Okay.
And Sherry kind of inspired me when she said her house roof was flat.
Yes.
And so maybe you want a little bit of a flat roof on that. Okay, once I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to draw just a line, and this is my stitching line. I'm going to just draw that right down from that tick mark to the corner on both sides. And this is the line I'm going to stitch on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to hand this off and I'm going to have you stitch.
So let's just show them one more time. What's underneath that?
Underneath is just my
Okay, so
roof
that's
base
your
piece.
roof.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be the sky.
Right.
Your background.
my background.
And
We'll just do one at a
I'm
time.
just going to stitch
Yep.
on directly
Just
on the line.
directly on the line.
All
Okay, we're
right.
using the Altair 2, and so this is just really easy where we changed it to the quilting, and Kris is just going to take a stitch. She's using green thread so you can kind of see the stitch line because we want you to be able to see it.
Yeah. All right.
This is where it is so fun, Kris.
Okay, so let's take a look right here. You can see that I just sewed directly on the line Allison drew. And then
I'm
this
gonna
is going
send
to
you-
come out like this.
Now,
okay.
normally you would trim a 1/4 inch away, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to. I'm
Not
going
on
to
this
send
one,
you
huh?
over to iron.
Okay.
So will you iron
right
that
now.
back? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to set my seam here.
This may seem so elementary and easy, but I think sometimes these angles get really confusing when you're following a pattern. And so I thought it might be really fun to see
Yes.
how you can,
I agree.
do this.
Okay. Can you all see what's happening here? We have a background.
Right.
There we go. I have a feeling we're going to use that background to our advantage, right?
We are going to use that background to our
Okay.
advantage. All right, at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to trim using my background as a guide. So I flip this over and I'm going to actually take and trim my angle right along that background piece.
Yeah, because then you know it's going to be perfect.
Right.
It's going to be the
And
same size
sometimes
block you
I
want
like
it
to do my
be.
half square triangles like this, Kris.
Interesting.
All right, now I'm going to take, and now at this point is where I take my bulk out.
Okay, that
and
makes
trim
sense,
my
yes.
1/4 inch away. Okay, now my bulk is trimmed out, and look, I have that perfect
I love
angle
that.
right there. Should we do
Okay.
one more?
Yes.
Let's do one more. Now remember, I have those exactly the same, and I trimmed those, 2 inches away, except for I need to do it again because I did it right sides together. So let's take, let's mark
so
2 inches.
What I always say is, that was so much fun. Let's do it again.
Perfect. And what did Sherry say yesterday? This technique ain't gonna learn itself. All right.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm back at the machine, and my needle is in the center position, and I'm just sewing right along that line.
Yep.
All right. Would you like me to iron that
Yes,
as well?
please.
Okay. You got it.
And this is how easy these little angles come together. And the nice part about it is that they are just perfectly square.
Yeah, they really are.
Now, my husband's redoing the roof on our house, and he has informed me yesterday
Love
that
that.
our roof is not perfectly square. So if your roof on your house is not perfectly square,
You know what? There's nothing like redoing things in your home, and then you go, ooh, that wall's not square.
yeah.
That floor is not square.
Okay, I'm just gonna trim that off to the side.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm gonna pull this back,
Oh, my
measure my
goodness.
1/4 inch, and I have the roof of my house.
I love it. Okay.
Okay,
easy.
perfect. Wasn't that easy?
So simple.
yeah.
So let's say you wanted more of a pointed roof. What would you do?
Then I would do exactly the same technique, but I would measure down 1/4 inch because I have to allow for my seam allowance.
Right.
And then I would do the same thing and draw my line.
Yeah, and your square, the background would just be a little bit bigger.
Right.
Mhm,
Yes.
To be able to,
compensate for that.
over there.
Yep.
Okay, any questions? You know what? That is actually an excellent technique to go through, because I think oftentimes we just don't think about how we can get some pretty cool angles.
And I've seen a lot of
doing
different
this.
techniques this way, and one that I just finished this last weekend that made me think about this was they actually made me cut out templates.
Oh.
So I had to trace the
thank you.
templates, then I had to trace that template onto my fabric, then I had to cut that out, then I had to lay that, and I'm like, there's an easier way. I'm going to teach you an easier way. And so, you know, if it calls for a template, that's just really easy. Just measure over how far from that square that they're asking that template, and just cut your fabric just a little bit bigger on your background.
So simple. Okay,
Yes.
Thanks, Allison. Now, you've taken your block one step further, haven't you?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready to see what she did next? Cannot wait. That's going to be our discovery for theme number 3 right after this.
Hey friends, it's been another incredible week on 3 Things Live. Monday, we learned how to make our own storage cubes.
My goodness.
Isn't that really fun?
I love it.
Tuesday, we learned how to clean our cutting mats and irons.
You can just see it coming off.
Wednesday, we had Jen Belknap from Jen Belknap Design House teach us how to make her new and exclusive Liberty Patchwork pillow. And she showed us 3 more new must-have quilts.
That's
One quilt
wonderful.
walk at a time.
Yes. If you haven't been watching live, discover how much fun it is to spend time with your girlfriends at 1 p.m. Mountain and 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch up on this and so much more by clicking the links below.
Remember, 3 Things Live is where we always have something to make you smile
Something to learn.
and something to discover.
Let's go.
Then you just bought another quilt?
Do you really need more fabric? I'm gonna have to build a second shed just to store all this stuff.
How many machines does one person need?
I think you should finish all your UFOs before you buy more projects.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We are in the discovery portion of 3 Things Live. And you know, Allison, I love to learn new techniques, new ways of doing things, especially when we can be creative and use different mediums like you've done today.
Well, and one of the fun things about this is that my mom, she knows how to sew, but she's not the quilter that she is, but she's an artist. And so one of the things I wanted to share with you is she put together a Home Sweet Home book in 2021 for us. And I learned a lot. And when we talk about Stitch Your Story, this is one of the ways that she shared our homes and our heritage with us. And she did this while she was going through chemo. So it really means a lot. But I just want to share, she took and sketched out in the middle of her chemo all of the homes that I have ever lived in with her. She did it for all of our family. And so these are all the homes that we lived in together as a family growing up. You can see this is when we lived in a hotel. You know, there was a vacancy. This is when we lived. And so this is the way she drew and painted those.
Wow.
Yes. So this is one of the way that she shared our heritage with us. And so when we talk about Stitch Your Story, and it's maybe not a stitch, maybe this is how she shared it with us.
I love this.
Oh, sorry to tear up. I didn't think I would be emotional about this because I've had this, you know, for many years. But because
That's really
I am a
special.
quilter,
Yes.
I might want to take this and put it into fabric. And what I'm going to teach you is this technique. But I'm going to show you how I did this. And this is kind of a fun too, is we're going to use colored pencils.
Okay,
And
love that.
fabric. So this is a quilt that I did that actually reminds me of home because they're all RVs.
Oh,
I
is
have
this
to turn
from
this
Crab
around.
Apple?
Yeah, this is crab apple, and they're witchy, you know,
Yes.
and they're whatever. So I did this technique on RVs, and you actually trace and then color with colored pencil. So I want to show you how to transfer your colored pencil onto fabric.
Okay.
Because I could really take all 12 of these, put them on fabric, stitch them out for her, and give it back to her. Wouldn't that be so fun?
Yes.
All right, so the first thing is we're using the Cutterpillar glow light and the tempered glass. And the reason we're using tempered glass is because we actually paint a painting medium on here. So Kris, I just made a house template for you. That's just any old house. I just printed it off. So,
right here.
Yep, so I'm gonna actually slide over here and you're gonna slide over. So let's use the camera on here. Yep, so a little bit further, there we go. All right, so the first thing you do is make sure you're using an archival pen, something that won't bleed and something that is permanent. And you're just gonna trace your house just right on here.
Okay.
And just make it really easy. Or you could freehand or you could trace. So if I was gonna use this calendar, I would trace what my mom drew, you know, just on there.
Now,
just really easy.
This is just a clip art image, but how cool would it be to have an actual photograph of your home?
Right.
And just trace right on there.
Yes, absolutely. So we just, but I wanted to make it easy so that they could see
1187 Zircon Street right here.
All right, you better draw that cool tree house in the back.
That's right, with the satellite dish.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so I have just a basic outline of a house.
Okay. Now you're going to take a colored pencil, and I really like these colored pencils that have a lot of pigment in it. You're just going to color wherever you want some color. So I'll just let you color. Let's just do the door for now, just to show them.
Okay. Let's do.
And these are just pigment pencil. Yep. You're just going to color that.
Do I want to do some shading at this point?
I really like to do shading at this point.
Okay.
Yep, you're just going to color it just how you want.
Okay.
And so she's just going to color that in.
I could probably use a blend of a few different colors.
Absolutely. You can spend as much time or as little time as you want doing this.
Would you mind grabbing me a brown, please?
Okay, one brown coming right up.
Okay.
All right, and we are tracing this right onto the fabric that we're going to use.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, you're seeing a little bit of the fabric coming through, and that's okay, right? Because
I'm going to teach you.
Oh, yeah, yep. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm just kind of doing a little bit more darker.
And
right here.
I hit that Cutterpillar, so let me get you some more see-through so that you can do that.
Okay.
All right, the top of the pencil box they'd like to see is right here. So let me slide this under, and it is just Artist Touch.
Okay.
And they're just highly pigmented colored pencils. No rhyme or reason. If you have Crayola, great. I just like these because they have a lot of pigment in the lead.
I love this. Okay. Yeah, I could get a little crazy here.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to stop you because we don't want to watch you color forever. Okay, this is just a blending pencil.
Okay.
And so that's what if you were going to shade, I just use that because what it does, do you see how that is blending those lines right into your fabric?
Did that come with your set?
Nope, that's just a
separate
thing, and it's called a blending
I've never
pencil.
seen one of these.
Yeah, and they come in all different sizes. Just pretty fancy.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do this, that would be my second suggestion is to get one of those.
Oh, this is great.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
Okay.
That really blended well.
Right, and doesn't that look pretty? Yeah. So then you don't have to be as careful because it's really hard to color
onto fabric. Yeah.
Now, I also like these blending pencils if you're going to do this with crayons.
Okay.
So, all right, the very last thing is that you need an all-purpose sealer. So this is the all-purpose sealer. I picked it up, and it's really easy. They come in lots of different kinds, but look for one that says fabric or canvas.
Okay.
So
this would be painted on after the whole thing has been colored?
Yep, but we're just going to paint just a little bit, and that's why I really love this Cutterpillar tempered glass, because we can just pull that out, and I'm going to just open this up for you.
So Lisa's asking, what kind of fabric are we using?
Just 100% cotton.
Regular quilting cotton.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, now you're going to just take, and all you do is take this and just paint, and this is the fun part, paint it right on your door. It goes on a little milky, dries clear, and once it's done, this can go through the wash.
You know what? This actually adds some vibrancy here.
Yes, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes, so if you want it really muted, just know that when you use this,
I'm going to do just a little
And
bit more.
Lisa, we are not using paint, we're using colored pencils.
And this is a sealer.
Yes, and this is a sealer. And it just look on the back. You want a sealer that is good for fabrics. And you want it to be washable.
Okay.
There's all kinds out there. So fun.
That's
That's my discover. And
that really
wouldn't
does
this
add a
be
lot.
a beautiful quilt block? And I know it would be because I did this whole quilt of blocks just exactly the same technique.
Now I got to put 1187. There we go. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't that be fun though if you did do a bunch of different homes, even on one block, and you wrote, you know, what the address was, or you know, anything that would remind you.
Wouldn't it be fun to do a whole quilt and hand everybody a block and did this just as a family thing and had them draw their favorite home memory and then put it together?
Yes.
I've created a monster.
Never mind me.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
just
going to
keep
be
on
creating
going.
over here.
Too much fun.
Yes,
Thank you,
isn't that so
Allison.
fun?
Don't we always love learning new things and new ways of doing stuff? And so you use that sealer on the crabapple?
Yes.
too?
Yep. It's exactly the same sealer I used on the crabapple. It's gone
really
through the wash.
cool.
It's gone to the quilter. It's gone all those things. What I did is I colored them all. I sealed them all. Then I took, and I know it's a 4-letter word, I hand embroidered just around the edges.
I love that.
But you know, you don't have to do that at all.
But you
because
could.
I gave you an archival pen that can go through the wash. It's just a micron pen. So
yes, and remind us what the pencils are again.
so they're just by Artist Touch, and they're just a pigment. And when you go and look in the craft section, you'll see a lot of different colored pencils. Just look for one that has a lot of pigment in your lead.
And if you can't find it, you're telling us a Crayola will be fine
Crayola
too.
will be fine.
Okay.
Yep. It just will not go on as smoothly. You might have to do a couple of different layers before you seal it.
You know, this is really cool.
Yeah. I have another one that
just
doesn't.
learned something.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. This is
So,
really cool.
Yeah. All right. What do you guys all think? Is it something that you might attempt, whether it's on this block or maybe it's another block that you're working
Or
on?
maybe it's just a quilt label.
Excellent idea.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Maybe you're like, I don't have time to digitize or sew a quilt label and I don't know what to do. Grab a micron pen, grab some colored pencils, sketch a little quilt label, do a heart, for heaven's sakes. We all learned to draw those very early in life, so just do a heart with the date on it.
Roxana has a really good question because she's actually working on another crabapple quilt right now. Are you going to seal it before you do the embroidery or after?
I always seal it before because then it sets that color. I don't have to worry about it bleeding over. I don't have to worry about it getting on my fingers. I don't have to worry about me spitting my Diet Coke when I'm watching Dateline, you know, on that or whatever, because it'll just come off. So
this is definitely a great idea for those of you who are thinking about, you know, doing the home block or any other block. I really like the idea of taking a photograph of the home that you're going to be doing and just placing it right under, and you just are tracing those outlines.
Then you don't have to be the artist you think you should have to be.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, love, 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 and love some more. All right, everyone, we hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, please do us a favor and share it with somebody that you know.
And be sure to share your creations with us. We get so much inspiration from you.
We really do. Absolutely. So thank you so much for being with us all this week. And, you know, it's never too late to catch up on past episodes. They're all on our YouTube page and on our YouTube channel. You can find those and, you know, get caught up with some of the things that we've been doing.
And you don't want to miss next week. We have a really fun week.
I am excited. Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep doing all the things you love, and we hope to see you again real soon. But I just thought of something tonight. Let's see you tonight, shall we? 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Join us for our live sale. Bye-bye, everyone.